Hello, everyone.
Hey,
I have no idea how many people are going to be hanging out with us, so we'll give it a couple minutes. I feel like we're pretty niche, so I bet we'll have a small group, which is perfect. Okay, it looks like almost everyone's in their group. So if you guys are comfortable, I would love to know a little bit about you guys before I sort of dig in. I assume you're all students. I'm not sure. I would assume. If you are, I'd love to know what year you are, what you're studying, and what you hope to be when you grow up. Wesley, you're on camera. Why don't you take it away?
all right, sounds good. Hi, everyone. My name is Wesley. I actually work for the University of Tennessee, the County Technical Assistance Service. I'm a
Oh,
graduate student with CCI. So, yeah, I guess I'm still got some growing up to do. But yeah, I do a lot of communications, and I was interested in this course because, or this particular breakout room because I do have an online portfolio, but I feel like I struggle a lot with the architecture and the navigation of the
mm,
website. So I would like to learn more about that.
cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Hi, Caroline. I was just having people introduce themselves if they felt so inclined before I started. I think you might be muted. You're
Okay,
good.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hi, my name's Caroline. I'm a sophomore, but I'm technically a freshman in the graphic design course at UT. So,
Cool. And Tammy, I don't know if you're there, but if you feel like sharing, feel free.
Hi, sorry, I'm not a student. I'm just helping the host record.
Ah,
Yeah, she's my friend, so I'm just helping her.
amazing. Okay, awesome. Right. Well, I love it. We have a little small crowd here. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Okay. Hang on. I have to apparently open system preferences and allow. Perfect. Oh man, I'm so amateur here, you guys. Okay. All right. Okay. So like I said, can you see my screen? Perfect. Okay, so like I said, I am a user experience designer for Wells Fargo, which I assume you've all heard of them. They're a very large bank here in this country. Um, and they had an initiative probably about a decade ago to really bump up their user experience. So they wanted to modernize and be more user friendly to their customers and keep up with the new banks like SoFi and Ally. And so they have a gigantic user experience department, and the user experience world is pretty competitive and difficult to get into. And so it's important to have a portfolio that really showcases not only the work you can do, but like who you are as a human being. And so I decided to build mine on Wix because I am a user experience designer. I am not a website builder. Like, I felt like Wix was websites for dummies, and it just made it really, really simple. Wesley, I know you said you were having trouble with like interfaces and whatnots. I'm curious where you're building your current portfolio on.
Yeah, so I'm on WordPress currently, but I'm familiar with
Okay,
Wix too. So yeah.
get out of there. You're gonna get out of there. WordPress is not the place to be. I mean, it's great, but Wix just makes it so simple. And then Caroline, I assume at some point you're gonna need to start building out a portfolio. With graphic design, it's probably really imperative that you have a showcase of work. So I think Wix just does it really, really well. So I will
yeah,
walk you
I've
guys.
oh
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I've never built a website or anything, and I saw the email
Yeah.
for this, and I was like, oh, this could be really helpful.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what it's like and everything.
Yeah, I'm not a website builder at all. Like this,
Yeah.
honestly, if you guys ever just took a weekend, you could probably bust out a little site in a weekend. Also, fair warning, it is the time of day where all my neighbors are walking their dogs. So if you hear my dog, I'm so sorry. Okay, let me share a little bit about what the back end, actually, I'll walk you through my portfolio first. So like most websites, you're going to want to have a homepage where you introduce yourself. And then with Wix, you can really customize this bar here. And I know you guys aren't user experience people, so the bulk of the information I have in here isn't super important, but I'll show you how it builds out and what the back end looks like. So I do have my resume on here. Pretty straightforward stuff. I only have my relevant work. Prior to being a user experience designer, I was a technical writer for a company here in Knoxville. I assume, yeah, you guys are in Knoxville. And then at the bottom here, I include my volunteer experience. Something that I've noticed a lot of employers really value is someone who is diversified, not just in their professional experience, but also in their life. So showcasing that you have a life outside of your work, such as volunteering or any other hobbies you like to do, is really crucial to show on your portfolio. It kind of helps you differentiate yourself from like a skills hire to like a skills and a personality hire, because if they know you're going to fit well on their team, that's like a huge bonus. Okay, and then the next tab over, I have my UX writing section. And if you'll notice when I click on this, it's actually password locked. And this is something I really encourage you guys to do, because it's always possible that if you're working for a company and if you want to go out and get a new job, it's very likely that the work you're working on might not be published yet, and therefore should probably not be out in the world. And so for my examples, because I work for a very large company that could sue me for everything I own, I decided to lock my work. And so here's just where I have some samples of user experience work that I do. These are just slideshows that you can click through. These are just a couple of random projects that I've been currently working on. XYZ. And then I decided to showcase 3 of the projects I'm doing. I'm working on a really fun one right now where Wells Fargo is associated with colleges and universities to like bank on like your student card. And so I decided to showcase this one. But it's really straightforward, and this is so easy to like build out. And then beyond like my relevant work, I do also showcase like some fun work that I do. So I went to school in Maine and I worked on a really fun project called Growing Maine that I'm really proud of. And so I decided to show it, even though it's not really relevant to like my career. I also did a social media project a couple of years ago. I have a chronic illness, and so I decided to build out a page and just like see what I could do with social media. And I was able to include like some really cool numbers down here about growth and engagement. And these are just little side things that companies will see and go, oh, okay, this is a diversified employee that we would want to hire. I also have a get to know me section, which is super basic. There's my dog that you're going to hear 100 times, where I just have a couple of paragraphs about myself and some personality types. I included my Harry Potter house because why wouldn't you? It's super fun. And then lastly, I have a contact page, and here I've connected my LinkedIn. Feel free to find me. But this is just a great way for prospective employers to like go here, go right to your LinkedIn. If you guys don't have a LinkedIn, make one. Everyone's on LinkedIn these days. It's super beneficial. So based off of what I just showed you, and before I go into the back end, do either of you have any questions?
No, I don't.
There's no bad question.
When you say, so you don't build websites, are you saying that Wix is very user friendly? Do they have a lot of like templates and things?
Yeah, it's stupid user friendly. So let me show you an example. I will go to my, okay, so here's it. So up here in the right hand or left hand corner, you have your pages, which are those like tabs at the top. Let's do one right now for fun. Leslie, what do you like to do in your free time?
I like to cook.
Okay, amazing. Look, we can build a menu apparently.
Oh,
So if I add a page called menu, got it, we can rename her over here. let's call it Leslie. Oh, I can't type on this one. Leslie's favorite foods. I don't know, something random. And then if we go to, oh my God, what is this? Okay, I've never clicked on the menu one before, truthfully, but apparently you can add different sections, starters,
Oh,
dishes.
like an
Apparently
actual
they already
menu.
have stuff in here. It's super duper built out and just really incredible. Oh, look. Oh my God. See, even I'm learning new stuff. But like, boom, we made a menu. And then you can go in here and manage this and update all the things that these say.
Okay.
That's
So
awesome.
it's just, yeah, it's just so extremely straightforward. And I obviously will not be keeping this. So it's also really easy to just delete it and get rid of it. But for my like actual portfolio piece where I have like my problem statement and my approach and like a slideshow, all this is I came down here to add a new section, and they actually have a portfolio tab over here on the left. And I just picked the one that I like the best. I clicked on this one that has like the slideshow, and it will literally just get added to the bottom. And you can add paragraphs, you can add or get rid of headers, and then this can all change. This is new. Hello on page. Like, it's so stupid, straightforward. With these galleries, you can organize media. So I mean, none of these are my images, obviously they're Wix's, but you can upload your own, add new ones, name them. This is a model in a white suit, apparently. Really exciting. But it's so easy. And then if I were to just press publish and then view site, all of a sudden, there it is. Like, it just exists. Like, it's so easy. I mean, this is the kind of work that's a little bit tedious. Like, you know, you're probably going to spend a couple of hours like building out this website. Truthfully, when Buki asked if I would showcase my work, I hadn't touched my portfolio in a year and a half since I was in like the job process, because why would I? And so I just spent the last weekend. I was like, all right, it's time. I'm just going to spend the weekend, spend a couple of hours, get some new work on here, update my info. And it's just so simple and straightforward. And Caroline, where you're in school now, it honestly wouldn't be a bad idea to start. Like, if you just went and built like a super baseline deck, and then that's just a really good way to track the work that you're going to do the next 3 or 4 years. And so I don't know if you guys do capstone work, but when it comes time to do a capstone or it comes time to do your senior project, you have all of this work just compiled and existing already.
So with Wix, can you make like multiple websites? Is it kind of like you make whatever you want, or is it like a one
Yeah,
website kind of thing?
let me go to like actualwix.com. And there's like a manager. Yeah, so here I just have my one site, but there are ways to add additional ones. I've never bothered trying, but oh yeah, right here, create new site. So I could have probably like 15, 20. I just use the free version. There's ways to pay for it. I also don't pay for a domain. If I was in the job hunt, like if I was trying to actively get a new job, I'd probably pay that $15 a month to have a really clean pagebarassa.com domain name. It says right here it's available, but it's just not worth it right now because I'm not in the job hunt. But this is all free and it just exists, which is really great.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, Buki gave us a lot of time. So I don't know if you guys have any more questions.
Paige, I was gonna ask, do you, when it comes to the media you store, is there, what storage limits are there with like the free plan versus the
So I honestly, I mean, some of the stuff I have on here is pretty big. Let me go back to my, hang on. So like the work I have on here, like the videography work, I mean, these videos are, I mean, they're all 4 or 5 minutes long. I have several images from like my social media site. I have Instagram connected, like XYZ. I have at least 15 photos up there for my UX writing. I have several photos of myself on here, and I've never even once been told that I'm like hitting my limit. And so I don't even know if one exists. Here, let me try. So if I were to add, like, and here you see elements, there's images, video, media gallery, XYZ. If I were to add like a big gallery, a very big gallery, it's gonna give me the option to manage. If I want to add media, image, it's really just a matter of like uploading. Oh, here, there we are. It says 800 megabytes used out of 500, which is pretty decent for a free site. I don't really know what these plans cost, truthfully. Let's find out. Yeah, so for 14, 15 bucks a month, you're gonna get that domain name, and you're gonna get up to 50 to 100 gigabytes of storage, which is insanely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I mean, as someone, I mean, I'm 3 years into my career and I have a decent amount of stuff on my portfolio. I haven't even used 100 megabytes and I get 500. So I feel like it's more than fair. Okay, so here's some other work on here. So this is some old work that I deleted because it's not relevant to my career anymore. But you can see all of the images that I have up here. There's a lot more in here. And I'm not even using it. So I could probably delete all this and even save even more room. But it's very, very healthy for like a free site, which is incredible.
Okay, cool.
So Wesley, what kind of stuff do you think you would showcase on like a portfolio?
In my current portfolio, I've got writing samples, social media campaigns. I've done some videography work, so I've got like embedded videos in there, but those aren't on the site. They're like
Yeah.
embedded YouTube videos. Just all kinds of things, graphic design work, Google Analytics
Yeah.
work.
Okay, so we have
all
the
kinds.
same portfolio. Amazing. Yeah, I encourage you to get off of WordPress. I've always found WordPress to be really clunky and convoluted. And the way that I think is I'm not a website builder. Like it's not my job to build a website. No one's hiring me to build a website. And so I don't need to know how. What I do need to do though is succinctly show the work that I can do. And like I have friends who have their portfolio on like oh my god, what's the word I'm looking for? PowerPoint, like just so basic. Like it doesn't have to be a lot. Obviously a website like Wix is going to look a little cleaner than a PowerPoint, so I'm not encouraging you to do that.
Yeah.
But it's just so basic. And like I built this site 2 years ago when I was applying for my current job. I hadn't touched it in 2 years. I was able to get back on here this past weekend to update it, and it was like nothing. Like it was so straightforward.
Okay, yeah. So what led you into UX design?
Yeah, okay. So I went to school at the University of Maine and I have a degree in what's called new media. And so that is essentially using technology to communicate, which is extremely broad. And so when I graduated school, I moved to Knoxville and I got a job at a company here called Radio Systems Corporation, which used to be owned by Randy Boyd, who's the current UT president. And they manufacture pet products. And I was hired as a technical writer. So I wrote quick start guides. So if they had, I don't know, they had like automatic feeders that connected to someone's phone, I would write the instruction manual that comes in the box on how to use that feeder. And that was really fun, but I was working for a like physical product, which I didn't love. I was kind of like the last step in the line. I didn't get to be involved in making the product. And a lot of the products that I worked with had like connected apps. And there was a whole separate UX team that got to write and design for the app content. And I was like, wait a second, I want to do what they're doing. Truthfully, I was underpaid at my company, and I knew that if I transitioned to their UX team, that I would still be underpaid for the job. And so that is when I decided to leave like the physical product world and I now work in financial tech. So my goal was to get one of those like big tech jobs that you always hear about.
Yeah.
And so that was like my main motivation, was like kind of needing to be able to like support myself financially. And I really just wanted to get into the digital space. And so for me, financial tech has been working out really well.
Okay. Okay. So you were in the technical writing space. Did you have any particular like user design experience before Wells Fargo?
No. So that's what's really interesting, is I didn't have any UX experience. But because with technical writing, I was writing long form content that was user focused. And so the way I was able to market that was like, I have the ability to write for the needs of a consumer in a long scale form. I can do this in a micro form. And so with user experience, there's different types of work. There's product designers, and then there's content designers. Product designers are going to be the ones that are building out, it's like, see like the components on these screens, how there's a header and there's buttons and there's graphics. They're building that, whereas it's my job to write the words. So I'm a user experience writer, or my title is content designer. So there's so many different components to it. So for this, a product designer would have put this image in, they would have put this button in, and they would have worked with me to figure out, okay, where do the words need to go? How long do they need to be? How should they fit on the page? XYZ. And so it's a collaborative effort, but it's really fun. Really fun. And was like, remind me what you are wanting to do.
TBD.
Perfect.
I currently work, my master's program is in digital and strategic communication. So I have an undergrad in PR and political science, and I work with local governments right now. But I have a lot of experience in long form writing. And then I'm trying to learn to transition that to web writing and like short form content.
Yeah, I honestly like it all. And what I will say is, part of the reason why I have so much on here about myself, like I have photos of myself, and I have my like volunteer experience, and I have a paragraph about myself and my personality types, is because I believe that being a personality match is half the battle in the job hunt. So I really lucked out with Wells Fargo. The team that I work on already had a lot of like old white men, frankly. And so my boss's goal was to hire a lot of young women, because she really wants to empower female in the tech world. And so I just happened to fit the mold of person they were looking for. And based off of my experience in technical writing, but also my like references who called and said, no, she's great. That's how I got the job. It's all about fitting the mold of who they're wanting to hire, which I know sounds so bad and prejudiced, but like, that's just what it is, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So I think a lot of people get really caught up on, oh, I don't have this experience, I don't have that experience. If you can market yourself and prove that you are the type of person that is willing and able to learn, you can get any job, truthfully. Caroline, did you have any other questions?
I think as far as just being a student in graphic design, I'm kind of like, well, what do I put in a portfolio, you know? Because I'm making stuff right now. So do I just like put it all in there and kind of go from there? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a graphic designer, but I'll like make something up in my head. If you were assigned up, like if you had to make a billboard for a company, even if it's fake. And your work, I don't know, maybe you work in Adobe. If you're building out a billboard in Adobe, literally have a page here that says graphic design work, do a little paragraph about the work. So for me with UX, a problem statement is always going to happen, and then an approach is always going to happen. So if you were assigned to build a billboard for a new coffee company in Knoxville, write a little paragraph about that project, and then literally just put a slideshow or an image of it below. Like, it's so basic.
Okay. Aren't there also like, I guess, apps or interfaces where you can like put like your designs on products? Or
Yeah, that probably exists out there. What are you primarily, do you use Adobe, or like what are you guys using?
we use Adobe, Lightroom Classic,
Okay.
Photoshop. Um, yeah, that's about all that we're using right now.
Yeah, I know. So every year Adobe does a really great summit where I think it's free, where you can go and learn about all the new programs or how to use current programs. And they have thousands and thousands and thousands of videos. And so I encourage you, if that, I don't know when that's coming up, but if it's coming up, that you go. But also, like, Google has always been my best friend. If there's ever something I don't know how to do, like if you're designing a new soda can and you want, oh my God, I'm so sorry about my dog. But like, if you're designing a new soda can and you want to put a graphic on an actual soda can, Google how to do it. YouTube how to do it. You know what I mean?
I love YouTube.
Love YouTube.
Love YouTube.
But yeah, I mean, I can't stress how, because when I got to the end of my 4 years of school, I had to do a capstone project, which included a portfolio of all the work I'd done the previous 4 years. And I was like, holy shit, I did not think ahead to save this work in a simple, understandable way for me 4 years later to document it. And so if you have the time now, literally this weekend, just make a site, even if there's nothing on it. Oh, there's the monster. Even if there's nothing on it, just make the site and throw things up there as the projects come along.
Yeah, I feel like in class we're doing like a lot of process, so then I'm like in a portfolio, how much is too much?
There's never too much. There's never too much because with Wix, if you like build out a page, you can, like, prior to this meeting, I had a tab here that said long form writing. I had a couple of like short stories on there from 2 years ago. And I was like, okay, this isn't really relevant to my job anymore. I'm just gonna archive it. And so if you go to apply for a job and you have work on your site that isn't relevant, just archive it. It's going to exist somewhere else, but it won't be seen to whoever you're showing your portfolio to. Like, there's no such thing as too much.
Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, cool. I feel like that's all I've got. I mean, it's so straightforward. I can't stress enough. I feel like I'm like a walking ad for Wix, but like I can't stress how easy it is to make a cute site. And you can change these colors. Purple's my favorite color, so I made it purple. If you wanted to do neon orange, you could do that. Go Vols. Are you guys from Knoxville?
I'm from West Tennessee, but I live in Nashville now. So I
Oh,
actually
you're
live
in Nashville right now?
I live in Nashville.
Oh, sick, cool. In Caroline, you must be here in Knoxville.
Yeah. My family's like 20 minutes north of Knoxville, so going to school at UT was a pretty obvious move.
Yeah, I was born and raised in New England, so I knew I was going to end up at one of those state schools. But now I'm here. Well, cool. That's all I got. If you guys don't have any more questions, I guess we can just hang out. What's everyone's favorite color?
Mine is a dark gray, like almost black. It's very moody.
Oh my God, I just painted my bathrooms black. Have you seen Bear's new color of the year, cracked pepper?
No.
You might love it. It's like a really, really, really dark gray. It's almost black.
Yeah.
It's such a good vibe. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys are seeing, but like the gray background of like the Zoom,
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
like that color. Really good color. Wesley, where did you get your bachelor's?
I got both of them at Middle Tennessee State.
Both of them. Okay.
Yeah, at Murfreesboro. Yeah, I got a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science because I couldn't
Oh,
decide what I wanted to do. And here I am 10 years later, not sure what I want to do.
I feel like no one knows what they want to do. It's all a facade,
It really
truly.
is. Yeah.
I had dollar signs on my mind. And so,
I'm getting
yeah.
there. Like
Yeah.
it's taken me a few years, but I'm getting there.
I think the
Yeah.
beautiful thing about life,
As
and Caroline, you will learn this, is that there is no timeline. Everything just
no,
happens.
except for student loan
Except for
repayments.
student loan
There's a
repayment, which
timeline
is
for
kicking my ass.
that. There's a timeline for that. Yeah.
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 Caroline hasn't had the pleasure of it yet. She's just racking it up over there.
Yep. Okay, I have a random question.
Yeah,
So,
give it.
and you might not know, but on my UT like email that I got for this, it says like a 1 year free Wix premium plan for the first 25 people that show up.
Oh yeah, were you the
Um,
first 25? Buki was talking about that at the very beginning.
I have no idea.
It might be worth
Um,
emailing her and asking.
okay.
Yeah. Or you can chat message her here because she's
Yeah.
in here. But when she said it, there was already like 29 people, but that included the speakers. So I
Mm.
feel like if
Yeah,
you
we
were
don't.
on it, when you heard her say in the beginning, she was like, let me take a moment to write that down. I heard her say that. So I was like, okay, I'm part of the 25. Cool.
Okay. I think I was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I don't
Okay.
remember. Should I just leave a message?
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
just
it's
give her
definitely
like a
worth
private
messaging.
message for sure.
Mhm.
That's awesome. I didn't realize I was not involved in the marketing of this program. Buki and I met at a social a couple weeks ago and she like wrangled me in. So
Okay, that answers that question. I was about to ask, like, what's your connection to this
yeah,
event?
so there's an organization here in Knoxville called Young Professionals of Knoxville,
Mhm.
which Buki and I are both a part of. We're really involved with UT because the age limit is 21, so usually by the time they hit kids hit like senior year, they start joining. And I'm actually going to be on the board next year for Young Professionals, but we were at a social a couple of weeks ago and Buki and I ran into each other and she asked like who I am, what I do, and like how I got the job. And I explained that I had a portfolio and she was like, oh my God, I need you. And I was like, okay. So now
Yeah,
I get to hang out with the two of you.
yeah. UX design has always interested me, but well, more so UX writing. I thought I would be good at that because
You
I have
should
a lot of
you
writing
should really look
experience.
into it. It's newer. A lot of
Mhm.
companies are starting to get into it more. It used to be that like product designers, there used to just be one title, right? It used to be user experience designer. And that has branched off into like 3 or 4 categories. There's writers, product designers, researchers, like you name it, it exists with under UX. And so companies like Wells Fargo, a lot of financial tech companies are really utilizing the difference between a writer and a designer. Designers spend a lot of time in a program called Figma, like building out the actual screens of a product. Um, and so it's my job to work with the people who are building the product to go in there and say, hey, these are the words we need to share with the customer. Here's how they should fit. So it's less of a puzzle and more of a painting. Because I think a lot of people think about writers as like sort of going in last minute and like adding in the pieces that are empty and like
Mhm.
needing words. But in reality, it's a huge part of the design and like how a user would utilize our product. Um, and so it was a really good transition from technical writing just because I got to be more involved in the product. I also really like the digital space. I don't know if you would rather work with physical or digital products, but digital is really fun just because there's so much out there and
Yeah,
so many new fun things.
and to me, it's a lot easier to learn about, like even with graphic design or anything like that, it's a lot easier to learn about formatting for the screens versus
Yeah.
formatting for print. because I've had to do both,
Yes.
and I absolutely despise printing.
Yeah, it's
because
it's so different. And what's really
it's so
but it also
bad.
gets really niche with UX because you have to format for an iPad, you have to format for a phone, you have to format for a laptop. Like but things move around a lot easier on a screen than they do on a piece of paper that exists forever in the world.
Yeah, I've been there multiple times. It's like you've hit a wall because it's on paper. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I might recommend if you want to learn more about UX, there's a lot of programs out there. They cost money, but they're not like atrocious. There's a UX Design Collective. They offer like UX writing courses. I think Google has a course, but I think it's more specific to product design than it is like UX design. But there's so much out there to learn. I've never taken one of them. I haven't fortunately had to, but I've heard really, really great things. A friend of mine works for the UX Collective. She took a course and then got a job as a grader with them, like a part-time grader, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Highly recommend looking into it because having that little extra on top of your current experience, having that little like certified in XYZ is really big. They love to see it.
Yeah. I've heard about I started the Google UX design
Oh yeah.
certification because it was like a free trial for a month or something, and I got part of the way through it. And like, no shade to you, but UX design was not for me. Like
I'm not a
that.
designer. I'm
Okay.
no
Okay.
shit. I'm a writer. I'm a UX
Oh.
writer. Absolutely.
Oh,
That's why I have
okay.
my UX writing up here.
Oh, okay. I see. I
Yeah,
see.
so
Okay. My bad.
so my job, like this is a really good example of an alert that went out to customers. So this little writing here, this is like, hey there, make sure your account has money in it. Like that's what I do. So
Okay.
I'm writing like micro copy
Oh.
within Wells Fargo. So like this, so like these words, like want to make college life even better. That's me. The paragraph under it is me. Even enter college or university, that's me. Yeah, so I'm a writer. The I am a ... Believe it or not, this took like 3 weeks to figure out what to put here. Under that drop down, it says student, faculty, or staff. And we were having the issue of not wanting to get like political because we originally said like identify yourself or like how do you identify? And our lawyers came back and were like, you can't say that because it's like political.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So like just little micro copy like I am a, or link your school ID to your account, all set, any of these words, that's all me. So I'm a writer,
Okay.
not a designer. I can't design for the life of me.
Yeah, it was too much for me, that little
It's a
thing.
lot. It's very, very complicated. Here's some of like the longer work I would have ever done. So this is, and I'm sorry because I can't email myself on my work computer, so I have to take photos with my phone.
Oh.
So sketchy. But here's a good example. So on the left here is like what content used to look like, and just even though you can't read it visually, it's very clunky. And then just with a little bit of design change and a lot of content change, you can make it a lot more legible. So that's what you're seeing here on the right. So that's sometimes what my job entails. It's just like cleaning work up. Here's a more clear picture. So taking like a block of words and just dispersing it and organizing it and changing the language,
Right.
is a lot of what I do. These little lines here, headers, subheaders, even the buttons and roll or unenroll, that's a UX writer. That's not a product designer. But yeah, I'm your girl if you need a UX writer, contact.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
It's super fun. And financial tech is fun because a lot of times when I tell people I work for Wells Fargo, they assume like I'm a banker. I don't know shit about money, truthfully. And so you don't have to worry about that like whatsoever. You just get to work in a really new and fresh space because there's so many digital banks these days, like Ally, SoFi, that are huge competitors. And so everyone's trying to keep up with each other. And it's really cool and young and fresh.
Yeah. Do you write for like website landing pages, or do you write exclusively for like app interaction or?
Yeah, so it entirely depends. It's really convoluted, and I'm sure it's company to company, but there are certain work that I do, like this long one here. debit card overdraft service. This is specifically only available on desktop. This program is not available on Wells Fargo app. It can be available on mobile desktop, but that's still not the app. Whereas something like this alert that like, hey, make sure your account has money, that's only going to be on the mobile app. That's like a pop-up alert you get when your account is overdrawn. That's only a mobile app. That's not going to be seen on desktop. And so when you work in any UX scope, you have to be really flexible because the medium you're writing for could be different every single day, every
Right.
single project.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It kind of makes things fun. Same thing with Campus Card program. This app is only, this isn't live yet. Don't tell anyone it exists. But this app is only available on the phone app. You can't access it on desktop. So I don't really have to worry, like the product designer doesn't have to worry about formatting for desktop, just for the mobile app, which is great. But yeah, it depends. Every day is different. Sometimes I write emails, not super common. But a lot of those alerts that pop up will also have an email attached. Like if you get an alert that's like, hey, you're out of money, you're probably also going to get an email that says, hey, you're out of money and here's more info about that. So sometimes you're writing for email, and that's like the longest content I ever write. That could be 2-3 paragraphs, but mostly what I write is really, really short, small micro copy.
Okay. Do you work remotely?
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
Yeah, so I live in Knoxville. My closest office would be Charlotte. Otherwise, San Francisco. Most of my coworkers are in San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah, which is the best. I love working from home.
Yeah, you're not going to be faced with one of those workplace callbacks, are you?
No, the people who live in the surrounding area of the current offices are being asked to come back at least a couple of times a week.
Oh.
But I was hired 2022, so I was hired last year in April, and I was hired specifically as a remote employee. So I was hired not having a connection to an office because I don't live near one. So if I was hired even 45 minutes outside of Charlotte, they'd be like, you got to go to the office, but I don't have an office. I'm a satellite employee. So
Okay.
it hasn't affected me yet. Knock on wood.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my boss lives in Arizona, so she's fully remote. Most of my coworkers are fully remote just because at the time we were hired as remote employees. So that is really good. I encourage you guys to get at least a couple days a week home jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Hybrid is really nice.
Yeah. That's honestly part of the reason why I took this job, because my company here in Knoxville was like, you need to come back. And I was like, no, I don't. I'm going to stay home.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know user experience is very, you don't
Yeah.
need you don't need FaceTime
No,
because
it's a really collaborative job in the sense that I'm working with product owners, I work with lawyers, I work with product designers. I'm working with people all day, every day, but it's just like this.
right.
And there's no need to be in a room with a whiteboard, frankly. Oh, cool, cool, cool. I feel like, I don't know, should we like let Buki know that I don't even know how to use Zoom. I'm never on
What do you
Zoom.
use, Teams or something?
Teams, yeah. And I'm also never on camera. Never on camera. We just talk like we're on the phone, which is really fun. That's probably super unique to my team. So
Yeah.
um, Caroline, I don't know if you had any other questions about work life, the meaning of life.
No, I'm good. I'm just chilling.
Love that. I can't wait to chill. I need to go to Aldi. That's my plan after this. Caroline, are you in any like clubs on campus?
Um, I would say my club is working at Starbucks on the weekend.
Ooh, are you on Cumberland?
No, I'm actually in my hometown, Clinton, which is like 20 minutes away. Even though I live on campus, I just commute because it's like a good summer winter break job for me.
Yeah, why not? It's also probably a lot less
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
That's so fun. Wesley, what's your favorite thing to do on the weekends? I'm just gonna make this a get to know you conversation.
I was gonna say I'm at the point of my because I graduate in December with my master's, so I'm at the point where I don't get fun weekends. I'm reading, writing, composing, well, not composing, but designing, things like that. So
I've always thought about going back for my master's, but it's like I would want it to be paid for.
yeah, that's literally the only reason because I work for the UT system, even though I'm not
Mm,
technically like I'm not in the student side of it,
yeah.
but I work with the public and I still get all the perks of UT, so they pay for it
Oh,
essentially.
sick.
Yeah, and the program I'm in is like, I think I'm like the fifth or sixth cohort to go through it.
Oh, cool.
It's like I think it started in 2021, so it's brand new because I started in 2022.
And what's it called? What's your master's called?
Digital strategic communication.
Oh, okay, amazing. That's like what I have my bachelor's in
Yeah,
at a
yeah,
higher level. Amazing. Love that. Maybe I should look into that program, except I'm not going to want to pay for it.
right. I was like, maybe I don't feel like Wells Fargo would pay for that either, but
Wells Fargo doesn't give a crap about my
a
education.
master, right? Yeah.
That's so funny. Do you guys know if you want to work for really big companies or small companies?
I've only ever really worked for, I was gonna say like public facing jobs, like public,
Mm,
like right now I work with local governments. And then before this, I worked in the private sector for a little bit doing content writing.
cool.
And that it was a smaller marketing team and it was a little chaotic for me. Um, so before that, I was with a nonprofit and I would say I like the public service side of things, but I'm kind of getting, like I alluded to earlier, I'm kind of getting to the point where the dollar signs are real.
They're out there. They are out there.
So
I will tell you, when my first job that I was hired that I was severely underpaid for, I tripled my salary going into tech.
see, yeah. And my first job out of college, I made $23,000 a year. And that was in 2016.
Whoa.
So yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah.
That's not good.
No, it was bad. It was bad.
That's not good.
Um,
I had the driving factor of living at home and wanting to not live at home.
oh
So, but 23 would also be a pretty big driving factor. I know you're not making that now.
yeah, no, I no. But even UX writing, I feel like it would be a career change, but also a fun pay bump.
I really love it. My team is huge. Wells Fargo has a gigantic experience design team. There's probably, I would say 500 total people if you're including like product designers and project managers and line of business executives, lawyers. But I work on a small team of content and product designers where there's maybe like 15 of us, and we work out with a bunch of people. But
Mhm.
as far as me, my teammates, and my boss, we're really small. So if you're like, big companies are typically siloed that way, where yes, you're part of a gigantic organization that's multi-billion dollars and bigger than you could ever think of, but they tend to make them really small within. So it
Yeah.
feels like you're in a small company, but you're not.
Hmm.
So that's the good thing. And I can only speak for Wells Fargo. I can't obviously speak for anyone else.
Yeah. Um, in terms of your portfolio, do you feel like the way I've kind of got mine laid out is by subject, I guess, like in terms of you got social media, videography, content writing, things like that. Is that a better system or is there a better way to divide those things?
It really
Or is
depends.
that way too broad to begin with? Like, am I
It
doing too
really
much?
depends how, okay, 4 minutes, cool. It really depends how specific you want to be. So if I wanted to gung ho on my UX writing, I could have made each one of these projects its own tab, and I could have written and written and written and written and gone into research and data and you name it about these projects. I mean, there's so much more to tell here than what I'm showing. But for me, I felt it was more important to share like my experience, my volunteer experience, who I am, other work that I've done. Like I felt it was more important to show that I'm like bragging, that I'm a well-rounded employee rather than just being like, look, I can write for user experience. So if you want to like drive home that you can like write and make that your whole portfolio, then yeah, do it. Get super specific and granular. It just depends on how you want to like present yourself, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, this has been great. I feel like we're about to go through a breakup.
We're about to go back to the masses, I think.
Yeah, in a couple of minutes. But truly, you guys, if you want to find me on LinkedIn, feel free. I'm out there. My name's Paige Barassa. Feel free to connect. I feel like the more people you have in your circle, the better, especially in the UX world. Wesley, if you're trying to get into it, it's really good to have connections. That's how a friend of mine got hired like 2 weeks after me because they had one more spot on our team. And I was like, I know this girl. They interviewed her, she nailed it, and she got hired.
Oh,
And like
okay.
hundreds of people had applied for this is a very competitive field. Hundreds of people had applied for our job, but because I knew someone and because they already trusted me, in like it's all about who you know.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course. This has been wonderful. And now we get to be in this room together for another 2 minutes
Yeah, because
till she pulls us back.
when she kicks us out, this one, do we automatically go back to the other one?
I think so, yeah. I think there's just like a couple like time for more questions
Okay.
or whatnot. And thanks you guys for hanging out. I'm glad we had a small little group here.
Yeah, thank you for all of your information. It's been really helpful. I feel like I'm at the very beginning stages of all of this, and
Yeah. And we've all been there,
um,
Caroline. We were all there.
yeah.
But if I can encourage you to do one thing, it's just start tracking your work now. So you're way ahead of
Okay.
the game when you go to graduate or complete your education.
Yeah. Seems like a long, fun road ahead.
You're gonna love it. Honestly, college will be the best years of your life.
Awesome.